Apple is dang good at butchering products, but making them good enough to sell. And this one is selling like crazy, even though a lot of reviewers said that you shouldn't buy it. In this long-term review, I'm gonna be sharing the surprises that we found, both good and bad, and if you wanna make a smarter choice, what you should buy. The iPad 10 is Apple's first redesign of the budget iPad, and I say redesign like this because technically they still sell the budget one at the same price, and this thing got a whole lot expensive. And tech reviewers' general consensus was that it is overpriced. But if we take a look at Amazon sales, the iPad 10 is in second place, only being beat by the 9th generation cheaper model and beating out even the cheap Amazon Fire tablets, as well as the iPad Air 5, the iPad Mini, the iPad Pros. This thing is selling like hotcakes. And even though in my initial review, I said it should be priced at $399 and I expect it to drop there shortly, if we look, it is still about $450, including the silver, the yellow color, and only the pink and blue ones are discounted by $10 and $30 in a time when people are stopping buying tech products. So why are people buying a ton of these? Well, I will start with the positives. The first thing that stood out to me in this time is the battery life. Now this thing has the A14 in it, just like the iPad Air 4, but it is actually downclocked. If we look at the performance with the same chip, the same style design, it is significantly lower, and that is because Apple underclocked it. And that means when you are using it, it uses less power. And that is something that we noticed when we were using it. Now, the one and only on YouTube did a comparison of iPad battery life, and in standby time, the iPad 10 killed it. And the same thing goes for multitasking. Social media was better, and at the end, the winner was the iPad 10. So that's definitely a standout aspect of this iPad. Now, the other thing is the camera layout. It is the only iPad that has that horizontal camera, and that has been great, especially when you pair it with their keyboard case or just the back portion as a stand. Now, my kids have been loving using this iPad. They use it for pictures, they use it for video. This is the one they want instead of the iPad mini or the previous iPad 9. Having the horizontal camera makes a huge difference. Just look at this side by side. The quality is better. It actually looks like you're looking at whoever you're FaceTiming with, or if you're recording yourself. This is a major selling point for a lot of people. Now, Apple put this in for the iPad to help it sell, but at the same time, they took away the Apple Pencil 2 that's usually paired with this chassis, likely because of that camera positioning. And this is just terrible because it is a pain for my kids to charge that pencil because we have a USB Type-C port now. That little cap is lost. So it's just a really bad experience. The adapter is not included in the box, which it should be. So that is one thing that we don't have an issue with the other iPads, where when my kids were using them, they didn't lose even the Apple Pencil because it stays magnetically attached. Now the same thing goes for the keyboard. I like that it detaches, gives you a little bit more flexibility. You could use just the stand, but at this time, I don't know where the keyboard is, because unlike the Magic Keyboard that stays together, once you detach it, set it down, it's an issue, especially for kids. The other thing is the price. At $250, and without having backlighting built in, it is just ridiculously expensive. And the discounts right now are barely there compared to buying a refurbished Magic Keyboard for $145 on Amazon right now with a killer return policy. And the same thing goes for the iPad itself. You guys saw that the cheapest was $420, but did you know that for $418 you could buy the iPad Air 4 that has the same A14 but has more performance for $418, renewed 3-month return policy. And not only do you have the more powerful version of the A14, you also have better speakers, you have a laminated display, which means that you have way less reflectivity, better coatings, better blacks and contrast. Overall, that iPad is a lot better. You have Apple Pencil 2 support with magnetic charging. You don't have to deal with that cable by the adapter Chapter, none of that headache. Overall, it is a much better iPad other than that landscape display. And a lot of people just don't know that. I'll go ahead and link that down in the description below because it just makes so much more sense. But what a lot of people do is they go into the store, go on Amazon, see the new design, they see the price tag, and they just buy it because it's easy and it's there. And overall, it's a good iPad. But what kills me is just the butchering of it. They made this thing thicker just to give it a laminated display to set it apart. They took the USB-C port in here. They slowed it down dramatically, making it take much longer to transfer files. And having this new flat-sided design, just like the iPad Air and the iPad Pro, you would think that it would work perfectly fine with the Magic Keyboard, just like the iPad Air. But even though it fits perfectly with the Magic Keyboard, it will not stay there because Apple changed where the magnets were at. And I think that really sucks because they made this thing thicker. They could have put a few extra magnets in to be able to have it sit here, and then you would have the option of both styles, but they don't. And like I mentioned, the new $250 keyboard with the Folio one, well, it does not have a backlit keyboard. It is actually fairly wobbly where the connection is. The magnets themselves are strong, but it moves all over the place. That also means when you close it, it can rub side to side. It doesn't hold well magnetically. That can add to having scratches. And with that, it also sucks that they only offer it in white. Look how dirty this thing is. I don't even want to show you guys a close-up of it. My kids were using it, and it's disgusting. The white gets super dirty. I have the white Magic Keyboard for the 12.9-inch iPad. It looks nice, but even using it mostly here at the office, keeping it super clean, it gets dirty and it sucks. And I don't know why they would do that. So the iPad 10 would be a great iPad at a lower price, or if Apple just didn't limit it on purpose to make it worse. That screen reflectivity for me is noticeable every single time I turn the iPad on. It just looks worse than iPads that were out 5-6 years ago. And that USB Type-C port, they limited the charging speed as well, when it would work perfectly fine charging faster. So even though the battery life is better, it takes longer to charge. And that is where Apple, on purpose, making the iPad worse just really, really bugs me. And it makes me want an updated iPad Air. But of course, that brings you up further in the ladder to spend more money. And Apple is so good at that, where the base model comes with 64 gigs of storage, and you gotta pay a lot more to upgrade. At that point, you might as well buy an iPad Air, but then you also wanna upgrade the storage, and then you're right there with the 11-inch iPad. And then at that point, man, I want that mini LED. So it is just crazy. It is frustrating, but people are still buying these things. So you guys let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Have you bought one of these? What has your experience been like? Maybe if you didn't watch this review, you would like it more without seeing how much stuff Apple limited on purpose, or maybe you just don't really care. Go ahead and click that circle above to subscribe. Check out our comparisons right there. We have a comparison with the iPad Air, with the budget iPad. Those are very informative, so check those out. This has been Max, and I will see you guys in the next video.